because they don't have a target and a time. So there you have it, folks. Am I saying you need to be paranoid? No. Do you need to be vigilant? Yes. If you see something that just don't look right, report it to the experts and let them figure out, if there's something there or not. Unless you work in that field, you are not an expert and not qualified to do that kind of work. I've been in that field. I know that kind of work. I know that kind of work really, really well, but I could say that I'm just enough out of touch right now that I cannot be listed as a current expert qualified. Probably more qualified to give my recommendations or to give something a second look and figure out if it's something worth reporting or not and be a little bit more judicious about it than your average person. But I'm not currently in the web. So I'm going to tell you flat out, I'm calling the officials and saying, hey, you guys have more current information and intel and stuff than I do, so you all figure it out. Well, I'm going to do that before I take action on my own. Now, action on my own that I'm willing to take is defend myself, my family, and my property and my neighbors if they will allow me to help them. And what kind of person is not going to say yes if I say, hey, do you need help fending off this attack that's happening against your property? Most people are going to say, damn it, why aren't you helping already? Why are you even asking? Why aren't you just acting? So there you have my 2 cents on that one, folks. But that's over at the Washington Times article. And then other things to look at, of course, from good old Jamie Dupree. Jamie Dupree, who works for WSB out of Atlanta. And some of you have heard him on the Sean Hannity show or seen him on the Sean Hannity show recently because he's kind of got himself linked into some higher profile stuff. Used to be on the syndicated show for Neil Bortz in the mornings, which is where I first became, I'm trying to look for the right word, introduced to Jamie Dupree and his highly professional political reporting. The guy really does not take a side. He'll sit there and when you start saying one thing or another, with a slightly biased view, he'll be very quick to say, you're right on the money with that, or you're wrong, or I'd like to see your evidence, or whatever the case might be. But here's the other evidence I have for you to look at, without committing to one side or the other as far as the political debate goes. He just presents the facts. And he's also able to present the political side that whatever opposition is taking. He's like, well, so-and-so would argue it this way, and so-and-so would argue it that way. So it doesn't mean that's his opinion, anything, that he's accustomed to these people, knows exactly what their perspective is and what they're going to say and how they would debate certain things. Anyway, Jamie is really, really good at digging in and trying to force transparency, especially if it looks like there is some kind of a cover-up or something. Anyway, he's dug in and found out that as many as almost 280,000 households, over 360,000 individuals, that is, are about to lose their health insurance or their tax credits for health care because of Obamacare being kind of jacked up. So due to data problems at the IRS, that many people are about to lose tax credits that they were told they were going to get. So they're going to have to cough up that money from somewhere, where originally they were told they were going to be having a tax credit due to it. And add to that, and some people are going to be cheering at this one, I just might be one of them. However, there's some fine print involved. About 115,000 people are going to completely lose their coverage because there's questions about their immigration status. Now, a bunch of people are probably cheering, oh, that's just illegals trying to get the health care, blah, blah, blah. Some of these are people who are naturalized citizens who, because of some data glitch, are being told, we can't find a record of you being a U.S. citizen. And these are the people who went and did it the right way and legal way and did properly become U.S. citizens. So there's that to look at. And some of these people are people who were born here. They are U.S. citizens. Their parents were born here, but all of a sudden there's a question on whether or not they're an American citizen, even though, they're second or third generation. So it's not 115,000 illegals per se. That's 115,000 people, some of which are lawful, legal, and proper U.S. citizens. So there you have it, folks. The wonderful Obamacare, with as many people as they were claiming they were going to insure, well, those numbers of enrollees are dropping and dropping and dropping because, the system that they established with the law is messed up, and the law itself is messed up and just needs to go away. And anybody who says single payer, well, you need to come and meet me on the mat, and we'll discuss single payer. We'll discuss your options for single payer after we have a little sparring match. Anyway, yeah, folks, I don't resort to violence, but with some of these people, they're just so dense that they do not listen to the actual facts and figures, or, when they have the evidence staring them in the face, they still want to deny it's there. So sometimes you just have to find a means to shove their face in it. Now, I don't advocate violence, and I was being completely metaphoric when I was mentioning meeting me on the mat for a sparring match. I actually mean debate, where I can present the facts and figures and have them look at it and try to justify what the math actually says. So you have that going. Now, on this lovely Tuesday morning, as the show starts to wind down, we're in our third segment already, I want to talk about, those looney liberals that we have running around. For those of you who don't remember, I'm currently an immigrant to from Arizona to the former country, now former independent republic, now the Republic of, as in it's a U.S. state, of Texas. This little insignificant spot of dust down here. Well, that means we have a governor's race going on, and here in Texas, politics can be a contact sport. Well, Wendy Davis, who's running for governor, of course, she's been trying to lob as much mud, and some of it's mud with a lot of fecal matter added to it, and toss it at Greg Abbott. And it kind of hits and doesn't go anywhere, just kind of slides right off. And then Greg Abbott kind of dusts himself off and says, hey, I'm from Texas. I'm used to walking on ranches. I've stepped in a couple of cow pies. Don't bother me much. Nice try, lady. How's that stuff you just stepped in on your own doing for those pink Nikes of yours? Their abortion Barbie. Not saying Greg Abbott would say that. That's me calling her abortion Barbie, by the way, folks. I think Greg Abbott has a lot more class than I do. In fact, I know he does. Well, Wendy Davis is basically pulling the same trick she did one of the times when she was running for, I think it was representative, or maybe it was a senator. I'm trying to remember exactly which office it was, but she had lost the race, and when she lost it, she tried to sue a paper for printing the truth about her and things that were going on at the time, and it caused her to, some of the articles that came out caused her to lose that particular race. So she tried to sue the newspaper for printing the truth about her instead of covering it up. That's basically what her lawsuit was. And it was thrown out. And she tried to say that it caused her mental anguish and caused her to be institutionalized with severe depression and all this other stuff. So it makes you really wonder, you want somebody like that in governor, if they lose a political battle, that they're going to become depressed and have to be institutionalized? Is that somebody you want as the governor of Texas? Probably not. But she did that before. Well, she's up to it again. Her whole narrative and everything is, first of all, it's coming under question what she's doing her book tour while she's campaigning at the same time, and misuse of campaign funds. So she's under investigation for that, and that's a legitimately good question. that people need to be asking, and we need answers to. Because if she's using campaign funds to pay for her plane trips to do her book tour, that just speaks volumes of all kinds of mixed up stuff. Well, it's coming out that when she divorced from Jeff Davis, she got a nice, $6 million-ish settlement in there. And to top it off, during some of the years that she was married to Davis, she was given a position within the company where she's being paid anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 a year to conduct face-to-face meetings and do social networking and attend dinners and social functions. In other words, she was paid $60,000 to $80,000 a year to hang out with her husband and go to dinners and smile and be pretty on his arm. And that was it. Most of the people within the offices don't ever remember her even showing up to the office or doing any amount of work. So most of what she was doing, like I said, was going to dinner parties like a wife would normally accompany her husband, or vice versa. And then she was being paid a salary of $80,000 a year to do this. Well, the article came out in one of the Dallas newspapers, and now Davis is trying to tell them, you need to retract that. It's going to harm my campaign, and it's not entirely true. Well, okay, that's nice. She was asked to give her side and asked for the truth and asked for evidence, that may contradict what these sources said, and she refused to provide any. She said, well, it's not true. Okay, tell us the truth. No. Okay. So she went through this. She did this once before, and her court case was thrown out. The judge flat out laughed at her and said, yeah, no. And she's a lawyer. She should have known better. Well, she's up to that trick again. So pretty much, is she going to do the same kind of stuff when she loses the governor's race? Is she going to try to sue all the newspapers and conservative journalists and bloggers out there that have been covering her campaign and exposed her lies, including that false biography of hers? She was a single mom for a couple of weeks, not years, weeks. Even before she married Jeff Davis, he was paying off her student loans and stuff. She had a sugar daddy. And now she wants every woman to have a sugar daddy named Uncle Sam. So, yeah, there's that. And then, remember I mentioned the stuff going on with Mitch McConnell's campaign. Well, it seems that his opponent is trying to make herself look, she's a Democrat, but she's trying to make herself look more conservative than Mitch McConnell. I'm not saying it's a difficult task, folks, because it isn't. But when you have a Democrat trying to make herself look more conservative than the Republican, that's going to be interesting, folks. Of course, her number one campaign motto is, I'm not Obama. In fact, let's listen to her latest ad. Her name is Allison Grimes.
Mitch McConnell wants you to think I'm Barack Obama. Mitch is the same guy who thought Duke basketball players were UK, or who's attacking me on coal, after doing next to nothing while we've lost thousands of coal jobs. He even said it's not his job to bring jobs to Kentucky.
I'm not Barack Obama. I disagree with him on guns, coal, and the EPA. And Mitch, that's not how you hold a gun. I'm Allison Grimes, and I approve this message.
Interesting thing about that ad is while she's giving her little speech, she's on a skeet range pumping a shotgun and shooting clay pigeons out of the air. So, kind of like her on the guns thing myself. But there you have it, folks. A Democrat trying to appear more conservative than a Republican. Is she desperate? Or is McConnell just that bad? Well, if you live in Kentucky, that's up to you to decide. But you can go ahead and see that video and read the write-up over there at BuzzFo. The title of the article is Democrats Campaign Ad, I'm Not Obama. So go ahead and take a look at that. Real quick, though, we have a couple of minutes left here. I want to cover a couple other interesting things. I would say my home state is Arizona. It's kind of my adopted home, folks. That's where I retired to from the military, and that's where I spent like the last few years of my military career when I wasn't in some foreign land getting shot at or blowed up. I was in Arizona. So that kind of covered my last 6 or 7 years in the service. So, Arizona's kind of my second home, so to speak, or my second home state. My first one is Illinois, although I was born in D.C. I spent most of my childhood in Illinois, and then, of course, after retiring from the military, I retired initially to Arizona. Now I'm in Texas. So I have a little bit of Arizona Dreamin' stories for y'all. Kind of stories that, well, one makes me kind of glad I'm not living there. The other almost makes me wish I was head back there. So a little bit of one, a little bit of the other. But keep your eyes on Arizona, which is a much better state than California. One of the things going on is at a parade, the Arizona Democratic Party, on their little float, were they flying the U.S. flag? No U.S. flag at all. They were flying the Mexican flag. Why the Mexican flag when you're in the United States? Well, if it's to try to get the votes of the Americans who originally came from Mexico, who emigrated here, or are children of those who immigrated here. Well, why did they leave that place? If they obviously left Mexico because it sucks. So why would they feel any ties or holds to the Mexican flag? If they wanted to be in Mexico, they just have to head south across the border and go back there. But for some reason, the Democratic Party wanted to fly the Mexican flag there in Arizona to kind of appease their part of their voter base, I guess. Makes no sense to me. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. I'm just write up again over at BuzzPo about that one. Arizona Dems spurn American flag, flies Mexican flag instead. Go ahead and take a look at that article. Let us know what you think about that one. And then, also out of Arizona, folks, the Arizona vice-chair vice chairman of the party for the state, former president of the Senate, I think it was. Maybe it was the House. No, it was the Senate. There in Arizona. In fact, he was one of the sponsors and key proponents for SB 1070, which was the check IDs, immigration type support bill there in Arizona that got whole Eric Holder's ire, and Obama's hair raised so much because how dare they actually, support the laws that the federal government's failing to enforce. Well, the vice chair was forced to resign for being too conservative. He has his own radio show when he's not in session, and evidently he said some things to people on welfare, made some recommendations that make a lot of sense, like drug test them, make sure they're not spending their welfare money on alcohol and cigarettes and other things that they're not supposed to be spending it on. Let's do some reforms. And somehow that got termed as him being a little bit too insensitive and being too conservative to be a conservative Republican. Again, that story is also at BuzzPo. Arizona GOP Vice-chair resigns for speaking his mind. He's kind of forced to resign because he didn't keep quiet about those, in quotes, social issues. Well, you know what? I don't blame them, folks. I'm not going to keep quiet either, but I have to keep quiet until tomorrow morning. But pay attention. Should be some writings coming out for me sometime later today, including my little eulogy to my hamster, if you're so inclined to read that. But there should be some news coming out for me later today. But my voice is about to be quiet until 8 o'clock Central Time tomorrow morning. So thank you for joining me for my show. I've been your host, Paul-Gregory Matuszak. This has been the Mouth of Matuszak show for September 16th, 2014, and we will talk to you tomorrow morning.